Aaron Donald recently retired over the weekend, and I just want to get some talks about Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is the greatest defensive lineman to ever play the game of football. Game. Aaron Donald is the most impactful defensive player to ever play the game of football. Aaron Donald is the greatest football defensive player, the greatest football player on the defensive side. Some people may have Ray Lewis. Some people may have Ed Reed. I don't know how you can have Ed Reed, but some people may have him. Some people may have Troy Polamalu, Mean Joe Green, right? I'm just naming Ronnie Lott. There's a lot of names of people that you can name that you can say defensive player. This person's the greatest defensive player. Some people may even say Dion may be the greatest defensive player to ever play the game of football. Aaron Donald is not only the greatest defensive player to ever play football. Aaron Donald is, when it just comes to playing and production, not when we're talking winning and adding winning into it, Aaron Donald is a top 10 football player of all time. Aaron Donald never had the slump in his career, you would say, would be the last 2 years of his career. Meanwhile, I know he only played 10 years. The last 2 years of his career, you could say, hey, he slumped here. It wasn't really a slump production. It was a slump production wise as far as putting up the numbers, but that's when it comes to watching the film, and that's why we're box score watching with Wayne. Aaron Donald is the greatest defensive football player to ever play the game of football because of his impact in the three tech, a defensive tackle who can also play end. He was versatile. He could play the 3-4 defensive end. He could play a 4-3 defensive tackle. He could still play a 4-3 defensive end if needed, but his most valuable position was on the inside because you had to double team, you had to triple team, and sometimes you had a quadruple team Aaron Donald. And even the double and triple teams didn't work. So again, like I said, you had to quadruple team him. You know, Aaron Donald, what he's able to do from a three tech perspective, getting that high amount of sacks, something that we really rarely didn't see. And if we did see it, it wasn't on a consistent level, right? I want to read Aaron Donald's stats. Just so you know, Aaron Donald played 10 years in the league. In his 10 years in the league, he made the Pro Bowl every single year. He's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 8-time Pro Bowler. Sorry, 8-time All Pro. Last 2 years, he didn't make the All Pro because obviously, actually, incorrect. I'm sorry. He made All Pro this year. He made All Pro this year. So this hasn't been updated. He only did not make All Pro last year because he only played 11 games. So this has it. Football Reference has him as 8-time All Pro. He's a 9-time. No, correction. He's an 8-time All Pro. He didn't make it his rookie year, but he made the Pro Bowl. He was Defensive Rookie of the Year. Then he came second in DPOY his second year in the league, fourth in DPOY his third year in the league. Then listen to this. Year 4 and 5, he won Defensive Player of the Year. Then finished fifth the following year, which is kind of crazy because he had 20 tackles for loss that year and 12.5 sacks. The year before, when he won his second Defensive Player of the Year, he had 20.5 sacks from the defensive tackle position. You know how rare that is? You know how incredibly rare that is for him to do that. His first year, he played DN when he won the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Aaron Donald has seasons where he had 22 tackles for loss, 25, 20, 19, 18, 17. Aaron Donald had careers where he had 11 plus sacks, 12 and a half, 13 and a half, 12 and a half, and 20 and a half sacks. His sacks numbers went down because they had to double and triple team him. So you imagine how much lanes. When the Rams defense was looking at it his best, is because he was getting double and triple team. Aaron Donald is the greatest defensive player to play the game of football, man. And I know some people may have LT because LT won that MVP, but the last 3 years of MVP of LT's career, he started to falter. Aaron Donald didn't falter because of lack of play. And more importantly, Aaron Donald played in the inside. So LT doesn't have the excuse to get in double team. Yes, he gets chip block, which has been a big controversy with TJ Watt in the past years, which I'm going to make a whole video about why TJ Watt was highly disrespected by Micah Parsons, and others. But Aaron Donald, man, there's nothing more I can say, man. This guy is the greatest defensive player to ever play the game of football. The film says it. Everybody says it. He's a top 10 player to ever play the game of football. Congratulations on a wonderful career, Aaron Donald. You will be missed. Now this passes the reign for a Chris Jones to finally. It's crazy. Chris Jones is a fantastic talent. And now he gets to finally get the claim, maybe for the next 2 to 3 years, of being the best defensive tackle. But this is on the backstage of his career. Aaron Donald is guaranteed a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's going to be no discussions when he comes in. Yeah, you may say he only played 10 years, but a lot of the great defensive players didn't play a long time. It's hard to play a long time. You can't be a Brady on the defensive side of the field. Yes, you could point out Charles Woodson, but that's playing cornerback where it's not as physical. But Aaron Donald, congratulations on a great career. The Rams will definitely miss you. The Rams definitely did you a disservice because I think he still had more in the tank. Maybe another 2-3 years. But the last few years, they didn't put any other defensive linemen around him as he began to get older in order to make sure that he didn't continue to get these doubles and triple teams. You have to put that talent around him so that he could free up and still be, number-wise, highly productive. But shout out to you, Aaron Donald. Great career, and definitely will be missed. First ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt.